Welcome to the Impact Maker's Journey from Passion to Profits, the podcast showcasing heart-centered coaches, experts, and energy healers who are on a mission to change lives and create meaningful success doing what they love. I'm your host, Wendy Vaughn, business success coach and founder of Impact Maker Coaching. And I've got to be honest, the path from passion to profits is rarely easy, but it's always filled with growth, clarity, and surprising rewards. Now, each week I sit down with inspiring impact makers who have turned their knowledge and wisdom into thriving businesses that are making a meaningful difference for others. I will explore their personal and professional journeys, how they found their calling, and how they continue to stay aligned with their passion along the way. So if you're here to expand your vision about what's possible for yourself, you're in the right place. So join me as we discover the positive ripple effects created by today's guest. All right. Hi there. I am super excited because I have as my guest today, Sandra Jones-Keller. Now, Sandra is a spiritual energy healer, author, and conscious parenting coach. So, Sandra, I am so excited to have as my guest today.
I am thrilled to be here with you. I love sharing this work that I do.
Yeah, and I think that you actually serve like two different types of people in their lives. I think one is that those parents who are in the situations where they're raising their kids, but they're tired of the power struggles and the drama in their homes, and they really want to enjoy parenting in a way that they pictured it, right? And then the other focus, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the other focus is people who just feel stuck in their lives. They're blocked for some unknown reason. They just can't get past that, and they need that support to just break out of that, whatever it is that's stopping them, so that they can create a life that is more
that they love.
Right? They love. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
So, yes. And what's interesting though, when you talk about conscious parenting, it's broader than just people with kids, because we all have an inner child that may need nurturing, or that's hurt, or that's reactionary. And so I have divided them, but they're really not separate, because the parents that I work with for the conscious parenting, I'm really working on their inner child stuff, breaking those patterns, busting through the beliefs, teaching them about universal laws so that they can be a healed parent for their kids. And that already makes parenting easier when you're coming from a framework of having tools to support you in your life, so that you're not defaulting to the things that you learned as a parent, that you're not defaulting from
unconscious.
Yes,
unconscious parenting, right?
But that you're not parenting from that place of pain or from guilt or trying to make up for something that you didn't have as a kid. Because that just creates a mess. And so that's what I've seen a lot. And so I get parents grounded and focused on their own inner healing, which then supports their kids. Because if you're crazy, you're not crazy, but if you're spinning, if you're uncertain, if you're scared and anxious, our kids are like little sponges. And so all that energy that you're feeling, even if you never say a word, it's being transmitted to them.
Yeah.
So by working with a parent, whether they have kids or not, because there is so much uncertainty in the world now, Wendy.
Oh, yeah.
And the work that I do gives people tools to navigate what's going on. It gives people tools to ground themselves and then to be better prepared for any uncertainty that's happening.
Absolutely, because that sense of clarity and confidence really starts from within.
Yes.
Regardless of what's going on out there, to be able to manage those stressors and those triggers on our own shoulders. And sometimes, like you said, it's reactionary. We don't even know that we're just on default mode instead of able to wake
And
up,
you're on,
right? Be
you're
conscious.
on default until you have tools and strategies to support you. And that's
Hmm.
where I come in. I give
Yeah.
you tools and strategies to navigate your life, to have peace, to have joy, to be able to bust through those blocks that have held you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Important.
the tools that I teach are so powerful and they're easy to use, but you have to learn how to discern when to use them and how to use them. And that's where I come in as a
Mm.
coach because I can sit here
Those
and list the
nuances,
tools.
right?
Yeah.
Those nuances, so
So,
important.
yeah, in order to have permanent transformation, you really need someone showing you and guiding you and giving you strategies and listening to what's going on and then breaking it down so
Hmm.
that you can have that permanent transformation.
I love that word permanent. It's,
Mhm.
I frequently get into this conversation with my clients, mindset versus permanent, which are beliefs, right? We've modified the beliefs that are driving those instant reactions or just the overall state of being. So, mindset versus beliefs. And, it's not easy. In fact, starting a business is not easy. That journey
Mhm.
involves some mindset and some belief shifting as well. And I don't know how your path has been in building your business, but I know that just in general, um, for all entrepreneurs, there's the business strategy and new skills and everything that are needed, but also that personal development. So when you started your business, I'm just curious, when you took your natural skills, expertise in, I'm sure, intuition, right? Those kind of
Absolutely.
um, bespoke or things that just humans are able to do, but not everybody, at that deeper level of intuitive abilities.
Mhm.
Um, when you decided to start a business, did you have a clear strategy in mind to support that journey? Or tell us a little bit about how you started out, if you will.
Well, I started off with just energy healing because I've been an energy healer for 20, probably 30 years. I'm kind of dating myself. So I've been an energy healer for a long time, and there's been different evolutions of that. Um, in 2012, we were in Hawaii, and I had a conversation with a couple who were expecting a child. And I said, "Oh, yeah, when I was pregnant, I had intuitive two-way communication with my daughter." And they
Mm.
kind of looked at me like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, doesn't everyone know that?" And they're like, "No." And so that was the beginning of intuitive pregnancy coaching, like just sharing with people the fact that these are conscious, intelligent beings that are coming through that you can communicate. And so it's been an ever evolving process.
And how
And
special is
it's
that to be able to have that, communication established prior to even holding the baby in your arms,
absolutely,
which is magical, right? But just starting that connection and
yeah,
knowing this,
absolutely.
that's
And so
powerful.
that actually leads into the conscious parenting because I knew and understood my daughter to be an intelligent, conscious being while I was pregnant. And then I committed to raising her consciously, mindfully, without corporal punishment, without the yelling and the screaming and the slamming of doors and the
Stop that.
manipulation, the
Right, right.
control, all the stuff. And so then that opened up the conscious parenting because you have these intelligent beings and then you try to control and manipulate them and it doesn't work, especially in the energy and the time that we're in now where the kids that are coming through are coming in with a higher consciousness.
Mm,
There's a level of clarity, there's a level of certainty, there's a level of connectedness. Whether they ever call it God or not, there's something that they know that they're a part of. And so when you have that inner knowing as a child, you need parenting to match and support that.
mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you get into these power struggles. You get into your parents doing what their parents did generations ago,
Oh yeah.
and it just doesn't work. And so it's like it's
Right.
kind of a fluid
That's so
thread.
interesting, Sandra, that you're bringing up such a major point here, that humanity is evolving.
Yeah.
Our our younger generations are being born into a different level of
Yes.
consciousness.
Yes.
That's wow.
And
That's amazing.
so you need parenting to match and foster the level of consciousness that the kids are coming in with. Because they are different. I mean, my daughter always had a level of certainty and clarity that I never had as a child growing up. And even sometimes still, it's like she doesn't worry about things or she doesn't try to like figure out a lot of stuff. It's like she makes her decision of what she wants to do, what she doesn't want to do, and just follows this path because it's an internal impulse that she's following. So as a
Well,
parent, that can be very frustrating though.
well, Sandra, people could argue that, well, that's because of the way you raised her.
It is. That it is.
But you're
And
also saying, and okay,
I'm
let's
saying,
hear.
and I communicated with her while I was pregnant, and that same level of clarity and certainty that she had. I had a high risk pregnancy at 41, and I was terrified, and she guided me through one of the most difficult periods in my life. And every time I would check in with her, it's like, how are you doing, honey? It's like, I'm fine, mom, take care of yourself. There was just this clarity and this certainty. And so because
Wow,
she was okay, I knew that I was okay. I didn't have to worry about her. I just
right.
had to manage all the external things.
Mm,
And so that sense of who she was then is who she is now.
mm,
And if
mhm.
parents are thinking that obedience equals love or them listening and following that equals love, you're going to be very disappointed
Yeah, yeah. Well,
because these are beings.
there's the confusion or the fear, maybe is a better word, the fear of, well, if I don't control them, then they're either going to do things that'll hurt themselves or hurt others, or they're just going to be crazy people. So, because they're going to be out of
And so,
control, right? They're not
so
going to do.
Wendy, what I say to that is the parents' fear being projected out.
Mm-hmm,
So that's how they were raised. That's how they
exactly.
experience life, or that's who they are. They felt like they needed to be controlled.
Mm-hmm,
And so that's why I go back to it's all conscious parenting in one sense of the word, because we have to heal those wounds, that inner child, that screaming
starting right with the
baby.
parent.
And then, looking at who this being is in front of me and what do they need versus this is how I was raised, and darn it, you're going to do it this way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This way or the
Or the
highway.
highway or whatever, or
Up,
go to
up, up. Or you're
all,
locked, you're grounded. You lose your phone for a month, or
all of that.
all the threats. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a completely different shift of just recognizing that this is a different
Different
type
kind.
of a person. And
Yes,
we're dealing with a whole new level of awareness that is an opportunity for massive
it
personal
is.
growth. So
And if you're a parent who needs obedience, who needs them to follow, and they're not that way, then that's where you have the power struggles. That's where you have the stress and the drama because you're trying to put your agenda onto them and they're not interested. I've got, so many stories of me having an agenda and how my daughter was like not interested. So I say that I was on the losing end of the power struggle because she wasn't struggling with me. She was just very clear. It's like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. Or no, that doesn't work. Or no. And so if I have a need as a parent to have them agree or to have them follow whatever I'm saying, even if it doesn't make sense, then I'm going to be struggling. I'm going to be
yeah,
fighting. I'm going to be
yeah.
yelling and screaming and
It's an
trying to
uphill
control them.
battle, right?
Yeah.
It's an uphill battle. Well,
Yeah.
can you share maybe a story with us of a parent and a real life situation where they reached out and said, Sandra, this this is going on and I need an expert's perspective and
This is
support
this is one of my
because,
favorite. This is one of my favorite stories.
okay.
I was working with a woman, and she said, "Well, my 3-year-old daughter has started pinching and telling white lies." And
Okay.
my first question is always, "Well, what's going on in the house?" "Oh, nothing's going on in the house." I'm like, "Well, share a little bit." And so she started being more self-reflective. And she's like, "Well, I do kind of like smack her on the arm or tap her on the arm when she's misbehaving.
Mm,
And I've been lying about not having any more candy."
mm,
And I said, "Well, your daughter is mirroring your behavior." See, we can't, in this, especially in this energy, and
right.
mirroring is one of the tools that I teach in my program. But our world, our children are reflections of us. So if I'm lying, if I'm hitting and smacking and tapping, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to start doing that because they are mirroring the behavior. And so what I told her was, first thing is to acknowledge that you've been doing it, knock it off. If you want your kid to stop lying, you have to stop lying. It's like you can't lie and then not expect to be lied to.
Right. Right.
And so that's the power of universal laws that we teach. It gives the kids responsibility and it gives the parents responsibility
Mm,
because the parents are asking something of the kids that they're unwilling to do or be.
mm, mm-hmm.
So she wanted to be able to hit, not hit, but kind of
Yeah, yeah,
smack.
yeah. Just
She wanted to
right.
be able to lie. And I said, "Well, why don't you just say you can't have any more candy instead of lying about it?" I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh." And so, like I said, it's the tools are simple, but are you willing to knock off your behavior that you're
Mm-hmm.
seeing being mirrored to you in your kids?
Right. Yeah,
Some
and
people
like
are,
you
some people
said,
aren't.
sometimes it's not even like when you ask her what's going on in your house. Well, nothing,
Nothing.
I don't know,
That's like the
nothing.
first.
And she had to really think hard
Yeah,
to, kind of become aware,
yeah.
right? Because some of these things are just,
Because we don't link it up. We don't link up who I'm being and who my kid is being.
mm-hmm.
It's like they're separate. And you've heard of parents talking about their anxiety and how anxious they are and how
Oh
fearful
yeah.
they are. And then the kid gets a little older and they start talking about anxiety. "Oh, I'm so anxious about this and that." So if
Mm,
you want your kids to have a fighting chance, you got to get grounded.
yeah.
You've got to realize those patterns and those things that you're saying matter.
Yep.
And who
Yep.
you're being matters.
And that it's not just a matter of putting on like a happy face
Nope.
in certain situations because I think you referenced a little earlier in this conversation, they detect the energy,
Yeah.
just as much as the words or
Even
watch it.
more so. Even more
Yeah.
so. The world is all energy, and most of our communication is energetic. Because you've been around people where they're saying something, but you're not feeling that at all.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it
yeah,
happens all the time. And especially in the mode of where I focus on helping people to build their businesses, which means get clients and if they don't believe in their own value,
mhm,
believe in it. I mean, not just say it, but believe in it.
yeah,
Guess what? They
yeah,
can't get clients, or the ones that they do are not going to be
yeah.
following through and all these things. So I totally get it.
I love it. And then I had a client, kind of talking about blind spots and flowing through things. So I had a client, she was just feeling kind of overwhelmed and stuck. So I did some energy work, got her
What type
grounded.
of what type of role, like, can you give us a little context? She
Uh,
like a
what was
corporate, like a professional?
she's a writer, kind of
Okay.
professional.
So an
But
author, so she's feeling stuck in just
she was
her
just, no, she was just
career.
feeling like stuck in general and
Okay.
like just a heaviness. She was just like feeling like heaviness. So I
Okay.
just started doing some clearing on her, and like 15 minutes into the session, she's like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. I feel clear. I feel grounded. She's like, so whatever happens after this is just a bonus. She's like, because I am good right now.
Wow.
Sometimes you just need support in moving the energy, in someone helping you see your blind spots, because that's exactly what they are. They're blind spots. So
Sure.
if we could see
Absolutely.
them, then we would do something about them. And so
Right.
that's where I come in to help you see your blind spots, to help you see where you're not valuing yourself. And
Mhm.
so you want, say you want a relationship, but you're not valuing yourself. And so then the people that are attracted to you don't value you.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
treat you a certain way.
Yeah.
It's not about trying to get the perfect spouse. It's about you being the perfect version of you. And then that will magnetize someone of a matching energy,
Mm-hmm.
because we
It's
can only be in relationships of equal energy. So if I'm vibrating low, I'm going to attract low vibrating people. If I'm vibrating high, I'm going to attract high vibrating people. So my job with people is to get their vibrations high so that they can attract the mates, the jobs, the parenting situations that they want.
yeah, no, that's it. It makes a lot of sense. And it's so, what I'm hearing is the kind of major building block here is that our world mirrors what's going on within. And
Absolutely.
that's scary, but also empowering because it's like, well, okay, I can
Because you
fix
can do something
this.
about it.
I can do
If you,
something about this. I can't
you can
do
do something
something about all that, but I can do something
exactly.
about this.
And that's so that is one of the major tenets of my work with parents. When you teach kids mirroring, universal laws, that is so empowering. So it's not about you have to listen to me and do this and this. It's like who you're being is what you're going to receive in your life. So if you don't like how your life is showing up, let's take a look at who you're being, knock it off, forgive it so that you can start creating the powerful life. So
Yeah.
imagine if you had these kinds of tools when you were growing up.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it's life changing.
That's a
It's
game
life
changer.
changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were in the ability to refine the school systems, not that there's something broke about them, but just to bring in this sort of perspective and to empower teachers to foster
Yeah.
these kids in a way that is, realizing a whole
Yeah.
new outlook on life. I mean, my goodness, talk about ripple effects. And
It's
I'm always
powerful.
about the ripple effects, of the
Yeah.
work that people like you are doing, because you can just see it when you're working with a parent. They're shifting. The kids now are feeling more love, more, harmony with themselves as well. And the ripple effects just go on and on and on. So I'm just curious, is there, as we're talking about it, what seems to be kind of a complex process, but is there, some best practices, or, do you have like a toolbox that's uh, like a type of a survival kit or something that you
Well, I do.
work.
I've got a few books and
Okay.
yeah, and so 21 Lessons to Empower the New Age Kid, I actually wrote with my daughter during a homeschool co-op. And so these are short lessons to show kids how powerful they are through their thoughts, through their words. And it talks about beliefs, it talks about affirmations and mindfulness, but really it's about getting the kids in touch with how powerful they are. And
Mm.
then my book, Tips and Trips of Parenting a New Age Kid, is our own personal journey of how we raised our daughter using these tools. And it's called
That's
tips and trips because there's some great tips and there's some trips that we had along the way
okay.
where parents get to experience. It's like, so it's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to evolve. It's like, wow, honey, I'm sorry. Yes, I had my own agenda. I wasn't listening. Let me clean that up and then let's regroup.
Mm, yeah, so powerful. And it's often not a place that parents like to go into it, admitting, right?
Yeah.
That, hey, I didn't really think and before I did that. So I'm
But
sorry.
that, yeah. And being willing to own your stuff, that begins to foster a level of trust and respect because you don't have to be perfect as a parent. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
And so if you think you're going to be perfect, you're in for a rude awakening. So you go along and you partner with your kids. It's like, oh, yeah, I see where I was kind of off. I see where I wasn't on my best that day. And
Mm-hmm.
then they learn that I don't have to be so perfect.
Right. Yeah.
I can, one of we homeschooled our daughter the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yep.
was
I
very
homeschooled our
important.
three boys too, so I get
Yeah.
where you're coming from, but go
And
ahead.
so
Let's hear it.
it was about personal responsibility, the ability to make and keep agreements, self-regulation. So like those were the things that were important to us. Like as a
Yeah.
parent, I don't want to follow you around, making sure you're doing your homework, making sure it's like I want you to learn how important it is for your life
Mm-hmm.
to handle your business,
Right.
to get your homework done, to be able to make agreements, to be able to listen to and follow your intuition. And we tell our daughter, it's like, if you are out with your friends and it doesn't feel right, go home, leave.
Mm-hmm.
Trust your intuition. You can call us at any time. We will come get you. But
Mm-hmm.
you want them because you're not always going to be there. So you
Yeah.
want them to be able to listen to their own internal voice. So if
Yeah.
you're being an
That's huge.
authoritarian parent and always trying to tell them what to do, they don't learn how to make decisions, how to discern if this is a good situation or not.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to do that while they're at home in a safe container with you, letting
Sure.
them learn to fall and pick themselves up and you pick them up so that when they get out in the world, they're able to do
They
that.
have that. Yeah, they
They have
have
those
those
skills.
essential skills and awareness
Yeah.
of that intuition, which is so powerful.
Yeah.
One of my mentors early in my business career, Mark Victor Hansen, he's co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I was in a 3% club with he and Bob Proctor, and one of the things that Mark loves is just thinking big, thinking outside the box. And as you're talking about, these kids going out into the world and having discernment and having that sense of, what, I'm here to make a difference. Mark was always about creating that, what he calls a big, hairy, audacious goal.
Mm.
See a possibility for yourself that excites you and just fuels your passion about the difference that you can make, and it helps to get over those limiting beliefs and internal barriers and whatnot. And so throughout my career I've always been thinking, what's a new big hairy audacious goal that would just you know send goosebumps up my
Mhm.
arm. And so I'm just curious in terms of the work that you're doing, because listening to you actually sends goosebumps up and down my arms. Just hearing of kind of the evolution that you're fueling, really.
Mhm.
You are single-handedly supporting people to step into a whole new awareness. So I would love to hear from your perspective if you have some bigger vision for yourself.
My vision is that parents create a partnership with their children for their upbringing. to let go of that authoritarian, do as I say because I said so, obedience equals love,
Mhm.
to let go of that and the judgments of other people, because what do you mean you're letting your kids stay up that late and all the other things?
Mhm.
And so my work, I feel, contributes to that because I'm talking about
Yeah.
having a partnership with your kids. I'm talking about these kids are intelligent, conscious beings coming in, and
Yeah.
they need parenting tools that match them, that support them, that aren't about controlling them. And so that's why I wrote the books.
Mhm.
And especially the tips and trips, because you can see our journey and it's not about you doing something wrong. You can laugh at us and how we fumbled or how we worked it out, but it's about expanding the consciousness and the awareness and the possibility of what parenting can look like at a conscious parenting podcast where we answer questions, just getting people to move outside of their comfort
Yeah.
zone, to be
I love that.
willing to let go of the control, because a lot of this is generational, it's cultural,
Yep.
inside of different families and cultures. It's like, this is what the kids do, this is how they behave, da, da,
This
da.
is how we
So
do it.
breaking through all of that
Yeah.
noise
Right.
and all those patterns to say it's okay to follow your intuition and partner with your child.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful. So you've written books, you have a
Mhm.
podcast. Oh my goodness. It's there are so many different ways that people can really get into your space, your world, learn more about. So what do you feel is really the best next step for people to uh, just get a better understanding if your support, your approach is the answer truly to
I
their struggles as a parent
I offer a
or
free
in life,
conscious,
right?
yeah, I offer a free conscious connection call where people can spend 30 minutes with me and we'll look at their biggest challenge, work out a little mini plan, or I can give suggestions as to what I see as their next steps, and then see if it's a fit to work together. And so I
Okay,
do
perfect.
this so that people can get a sense of who I am and how I work
Yeah,
and see the possibility for themselves. Like
right.
I'm
And
holding a
that's
vision for
such a
you.
generous offer, a 30-minute conversation
Mhm.
with you. So
Yeah.
that is huge. Now, how would they find that booking or scheduling
Visit
link?
my website,
Okay.
sandrajoneskeller.com. On
Okay.
my work with me page, you can book your free conscious connection call right there.
All right, fantastic. Look in the show notes, listeners, and you'll find the link to Sandra's website. And wow, what a generous offer, as well as just listening to your podcast. What's the name of your podcast?
The Conscious Parenting Show on News for the Soul Radio.
Perfect, perfect. So there's the podcast, her books, fantastic. Well, Sandra, this has just been so much fun hearing about your journey, hearing about your own evolution and your hands-on experience in raising your daughter and seeing the possibilities for what all of us can really experience once we wake up and tune into the fact that the world is evolving and we don't have to be
Absolutely.
on autopilot. In fact, that's probably going to lead to a lot of challenges and struggles that don't need to
It does.
exist. So, yeah,
It does.
absolutely.
And
All right.
it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, and that's the good news. It doesn't have to be that way,
It doesn't have to
right?
be that way.
There's a
Yeah.
different there's a different curtain. Behind curtain number 2 is,
Absolutely. And so one thing I'd
much
like
more.
to say before we close, Wendy,
Yeah.
is there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now.
Yes, there is.
And having tools and strategies helps you be more powerful dealing with all of the uncertainties. And it's like getting ahead of the game. You don't want to be behind trying to catch up. It's like having tools and strategies in place so
Hmm.
that you can navigate all the uncertainty with ease and grace. So now is the best time more than ever to
Yeah.
get that mentorship, to get that support.
Right. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than waking up with anxiety
Yeah.
or just that underlying level of what's going to happen next, to
Yeah.
me. versus I got this.
Yeah,
Got this.
absolutely.
This is, we're good. We're golden. We've got, everything it takes. So yeah, I love that. It's a totally different way of approaching life, and it doesn't just happen without some guidance and
Yeah.
expertise. So definitely. Well, Sandra, like I said, this has been just a wonderful conversation. I've so much enjoyed hearing your perspectives and the journey that you've been on from passion to profit and making that huge impact in the world around us. So thank you so much for all
Well,
that you do.
thank you for
And
having me. I
absolutely,
appreciate the conversation.
it's been my pleasure. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, the real life transformations facilitated by experts like my guest today are truly priceless. I mean, happiness, joy, peace, love, right? These are all what each of us ultimately strives for in life. But becoming a sought after and well paid coach or energy healer is often challenging, overwhelming, and frustrating. So, if you're a heart centered coach, expert, or energy healer who's striving for more ease, flow, and abundance, well, I've created a special gift just for you. So, check out the show notes. All right, well, this is Wendy Vaughn signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to join me for my next episode where we'll be inspired by yet another impact maker's journey.